In Perry, Georgia, something really sad and shocking happened. Two friends were somehow connected to the terrible death of a young boy named Sam. We don't know why they did it. It's like they hurt Sam just because they wanted to, but we're here to figure it out together. We'll dig into what happened, looking at every detail. We want to understand why this happened and what led up to it. So, let's dive in and try to make sense of this heartbreaking story. Sam Poss was an energetic 18-year-old born on June 12, 1998. He went to Perry High School in Perry, Georgia. He loved playing the drums in the school band and dreamed of joining the military after he graduated. At home, he lived with his dad, Chris, and his brother, but he was really close to his mom, Nicole. Sam was super into video games and computers. He and one of his best buds even made a computer program for gamers. He was also super smart and loved to learn new things. His parents said he was always ready to help out his friends and family, even dropping everything to lend a hand. Basically, Sam was a great guy who cared about people and loved to learn and help out whenever he could. It's sad to realize that sometimes bad things happen to good people. Sam is a good kid, but he didn't deserve what's about to happen in this case. Dakota White and Sam were really close pals. They spent a lot of time together, especially working on different games. One day, right before Sam disappeared, they were both playing games separately from their own homes. Dakota seemed to be having some trouble with his game in the evening. Dakota was facing a problem while playing his game, and it seemed like something he couldn't fix on his own. See, Dakota knows a lot about hardware, but software isn't really his thing, so he decided to ask his friend Sam for help. Sam's like a wizard when it comes to software stuff. They talked about it in the chat room inside the game. Dakota explained what was happening, and Sam offered to lend a hand. Dakota said he could go get Sam, which he did. He picked up Sam at his house at around 12:30 a.m. on October 14, 2016. So, that night, Sam headed over to Dakota's place. Dakota said when they got back to his place in his car, Sam sorted out the gaming trouble and then left Dakota's house. On the night of October 14th, 2016, Chris returned home pretty late, around 2 in the morning, after spending time at a game night. When he got back, he went to Sam's room to see how he was doing, but surprise, surprise, Sam wasn't there. His computer and phone were left behind. Chris thought it was a bit odd, but he mentioned that Sam wasn't glued to his phone like a lot of other teenagers, so it wasn't totally out of the ordinary for him to leave it behind. Since Sam didn't have a driver's license, Chris figured that maybe one of his friends had swung by to pick him up. Sam was pretty independent. He didn't mind walking to his buddies' places, especially if it meant they could play video games together. So, Chris thought maybe Sam had headed out for some gaming fun with his pals, like he often did. As Friday rolled into Saturday, Chris still hadn't heard a peep from Sam. By Sunday, he started getting worried and decided to take matters into his own hands. He reached out to one of Sam's buddies, Zach Chaffin, to see if he had any info. Zach told Chris he hadn't heard from Sam either. Feeling more concerned, Chris decided to snoop around on Sam's computer. That's when he stumbled upon a message from another friend of Sam's, Dakota White. Chris saw that Dakota had sent a message to Sam, asking if he could lend a hand with a video project. Sam, being the helpful friend he was, agreed to help out. Dakota then offered to swing by and pick Sam up. Curious about Sam's whereabouts, Chris decided to pay Dakota a visit. When Chris got to Dakota's place, Dakota mentioned that he had indeed seen Sam on Friday. According to Dakota, Sam left his house around 1:30 in the morning, opting to walk back home. Feeling increasingly anxious about Sam's disappearance, Chris and Dakota teamed up to retrace Sam's steps. They walked along the route that Sam would typically take to get back home, hoping to find some clue or sign of where he might be. Despite their thorough search, they came up empty-handed. It was as if Sam had vanished into thin air. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Chris knew he needed to act. With a heavy heart, he made the difficult decision to contact the police and report his son missing. As Chris called the emergency number, he felt really scared and worried. The investigation kicked off with a big search for Sam. While everyone was looking for him, a bunch of Sam's friends got called in to answer questions. Even his girlfriend had to go in. She told the police that she and Sam were having problems back then and had actually split up. so she didn't have any idea where he might have gone. The police decided to bring Dakota in for questioning because he was the last person known to have seen Sam before he went missing. Even though the police had already visited Dakota's home to talk to him, it might have been a quick chat. Now, they wanted to have a more thorough conversation with him. They hoped that Dakota might have some important information that could help them figure out what happened to Sam. When the police brought Dakota in for questioning, he explained everything he knew. He started by talking about the problems he was having with his games and how he reached out to Sam for help. Dakota went on to describe how he invited Sam over and how Sam left after they sorted out the gaming issue. The police didn't find anything suspicious during the interrogation because Dakota wasn't considered a suspect at that time. As the investigation progressed, the police started to gather more witnesses who could provide credible information about the case. These witnesses seemed like they could help shed light on what happened to Sam, giving the investigation a promising direction. A high school student named Bradley Smith stepped forward as a witness. He talked about an encounter he had with a classmate, Brandon Warren, on the bus before anyone knew about Sam's death. Bradley said he was sitting near Brandon, who seemed really down. Bradley wanted to see if he could help, so he went up to Brandon to ask what was wrong. That's when Brandon confessed something shocking. He said he had killed someone. The police started looking into Brandon Warren and checked out his social media accounts. They found something pretty weird. Brandon's posts were all about murder stuff. It was like he was obsessed with it or something. Now the police had their eyes on Brandon as a possible suspect in their investigation. The police got another tip, but this time it was anonymous, meaning they didn't know who sent it. This tip pointed the finger at Dakota as the possible killer. The police knew Dakota because he was the last person seen with Sam, and now someone was saying he might be the one who did something to Sam. This tip added to the puzzle the police were trying to solve. Now, the police had two people they were looking at closely, Dakota White and Brandon Warren. With two potential suspects, the investigation was really starting to take shape, but the police still had a lot of work to do to figure out what really happened to Sam. The anonymous tip came from someone who said they were friends with both Dakota and Sam. They mentioned that they all became friends while playing a game called Rust, along with some other guys. As their friendship grew, they decided to chat outside of the game's chat room for better communication. They chose a platform called Discord, which is like a social media site but more focused on chatting and gaming. Moving their conversations to Discord allowed them to talk more easily and share things like tips for the game or just chat about life in general. It seemed like a natural step for friends who enjoyed gaming together. But now, this anonymous person was suggesting that something sinister might have happened between Dakota and Sam, which added a new layer of complexity to the investigation. On the Discord platform, Dakota had a chat with this anonymous person. During their conversation, Dakota revealed something shocking. He said he had killed someone. When the anonymous person asked him why, Dakota said it was because he wanted to experience what it felt like to take someone's life. The anonymous person shared more details, claiming that Dakota had invited the victim over to his place under the pretense of needing help with his computer. It was during this visit that Dakota allegedly killed someone, although Dakota didn't mention the name of the victim to this guys, but police felt it would definitely be Sam. According to the anonymous source, Dakota confessed that moving the body was difficult because it was heavy. However, Dakota mentioned having a friend who helped him get rid of the body. This revelation painted a grim picture of what might have transpired between Dakota and Sam on that fateful day. This piece of information seems to match with what really happened, and it really made sense and added up, but the police can't take action because of testimonies from a bunch of kids. The name of the person that was killed wasn't mentioned by the anonymous, but it was assumed by the police that it was Sam. After receiving the anonymous tip implicating Dakota, his aunt came forward to hand him over to the police, acting on behalf of Dakota's mother. The police then decided to visit Dakota's mother. It seems Dakota's aunt believed that he might have really been involved in the incident. Her belief stemmed from what Dakota's mother had often said about him. Dakota's mom revealed to the police that Dakota had visited her and confessed to killing someone. She admitted that she didn't feel brave enough to turn him in herself. So she asked her sister, Dakota's aunt, to do it for her. Dakota's mum also shared with the police that Dakota had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder when he was a child. He took medication for about 5 years, but then he and his family thought he didn't need it anymore because it seemed like he had overcome the symptoms. However, it turned out that wasn't the case. This information shed light on Dakota's mental health history and raised questions about its potential impact on his behavior and actions. The police decided to bring Dakota in for questioning again after gathering information from various witnesses. The detective leading the case stayed calm and friendly when talking to Dakota, which helped Dakota feel more at ease. Throughout the conversation, the detective kept encouraging Dakota to share what he knew, mentioning that they had evidence pointing towards him. This approach eventually led Dakota to break down and start confessing to what truly happened. The detective's approach of maintaining a friendly demeanor while gently pressing for the truth played a crucial role in getting Dakota to open up about the events surrounding Sam's disappearance. Dakota admitted to the police that he killed Sam. He explained how it happened. Dakota had gone to Sam's house to pick him up, pretending to need help fixing his computer. They all got into the car, with Dakota sitting in the back, Brandon driving, and Sam in the front seat next to Brandon. Dakota then directed Brandon to his own driveway. With Brandon's help, Dakota carried out the crime there. Dakota confessed that he initially tried to strangle Sam using a telephone wire, but it kept breaking. So, he resorted to using his hands to strangle Sam, while Brandon stabbed him to death. According to Dakota, after they were done with the horrifying act, their clothes were stained with Sam's blood. To avoid leaving any evidence behind, they decided to burn their clothes. Dakota's stepfather stepped up to testify, saying that he helped his stepson clean his car. He explained that there were some stains in the car, but he believed they were from cherry soda. This testimony added another layer to the investigation, suggesting that there could be an innocent explanation for the stains found in Dakota's car. However, it also raised questions about whether Dakota's stepfather was aware of what had truly happened and was trying to cover it up. The police would need to further examine the evidence to determine the truth behind the stains and Dakota's involvement in Sam's murder. The police decided to inspect Dakota's car for any stains, but it had been thoroughly cleaned. To see if anything had been missed, they used a special tool called a blacklight, which can reveal hidden stains. Sure enough, they found some areas on the cleaned spot that glowed under the black light. Upon further investigation, they determined that it was biological fluid, specifically blood. This discovery pointed to a grim truth. Sam had indeed been in Dakota's car, and there was evidence of violence. It seemed like Dakota and Brandon had carefully selected their victim. Sam was seen as an easy target because he was known to be a friendly and trusting person. This revelation added to the chilling nature of the crime and the calculated planning behind it. When the detective asked Dakota where Sam's body was, he confessed that it was at the back of Lakejoy Village. He even offered to show them the exact location, which he did. This led to the police finding Sam's body. Dakota's confession might have been because he thought he wouldn't be charged with murder since he didn't physically kill Sam. However, things didn't go as he hoped. His confession not only revealed the location of the body, but also implicated him in the crime. It showed that he was involved in the planning and execution of Sam's murder, making him just as responsible in the eyes of the law. Dakota and Brandon, both of whom pleaded not guilty, faced separate trials, resulting in convictions just 1 week apart. The charges against them were significant, including second-degree felony of malice murder, felony murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault, tampering with evidence, and concealing a death. Their legal fight ended on May 10, 2018, when both Dakota and Brandon got life sentences with no chance of getting out of prison. Despite their appeals, the original sentencing remains unchanged, and they continue to serve their sentences behind bars. These teens are really mean and horrible. Just because they had a tough childhood doesn't mean they can hurt someone. When Dakota was talking to the police, he didn't seem sad at all. He was even smiling, which shocked me as much as it did the police. It's really sad that an 18-year-old with a whole life ahead of him was killed. I still don't understand why they did it. I think they just wanted to hurt someone and feel powerful for a little while. Like the police said, they wanted to control someone for a few minutes. They should stay in jail forever and never get out. They deserve to be punished for what they did. If you enjoyed this true crime story, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our True Crime podcast. By doing so, you'll stay updated and won't miss out on any new episodes when they're released. Your support helps us bring you more intriguing stories and insights into the world of true crime. Thank you for being part of our community.